Hello, I'm Robin and welcome back to Molten Modular DIY Corner, where I'm going to build another module. Today's module is from Jolin Labs. Jolin Labs. It comes in this beautiful packaging. It's fantastic. The module in question is the Rosa. The Rosa is some kind of infinite morphing, modulation, mixing, diverting machine. It can take 4 inputs and outputs, and it can morph and change and scan and interpolate between one another in order for you to bring 4 lots of modulation in and kick it to 4 different destinations. Something like that. Or 4 to 1 or multiple to 1. The routing will become clear as we get there. But essentially it's the sort of thing that you can stick in the middle of your rack, feed a load of stuff into, and then play with where it gets sent to. That's the idea, on one big fabulous looking knob. At least I think so. But hey, when we get to the end, we will discover exactly what this is all about. So let's not waste any time. Let's get stuck into it and have a look at the kit. This seems to be the main affair, covered in tea bags at the moment. Let's have a look. 3 little packages. So in this beautiful crate paper that reminds me of, well, kind of a pink Christmas, I suppose, we have, so the front panel, it's rather nice. It's all shiny and reflective. Pschow, pschow. And that also comes with this, which looks like front panel hardware. It's going to go on there, so that's going to sit behind that in that sort of fashion. Super, super duper duper. And we have another one. So this has got, well, this has got a bite out of it in 2 places. It's interesting. So all of the chips appear to be done. So I don't think we're going to be doing too much soldering. It's looking currently a bit more like the front panel sort of stuff. Oh, some nice ink work on the back. Cool. And yet another one here, which is similar. Wow, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of chips to do whatever it is this is trying to do. So this presumably stacks on top one way or another, which then stacks and stacks. It's a sandwich. It's a proper Scooby-Doo sandwich of stuff. Look at all that we're going to have to work out. Okay, good, lovely. Then we've got a bag of bits. That is front panel stuff, patch sockets, switches, power, a couple of knobs. Nice. And then we've got this tea bag situation. Which are delightful. It's slightly weird, just slightly on the weird side. So, oh, and there, it came apart a little bit easy. I've got a couple of knobs. Nice. Here I've got, is that everything? I think so. A whole bunch of headers, a whole bunch of spiky things, some washers, screws, nice little what do you call that, shoulder, spacer, an annoying Allen key, which means there's going to be some annoying screws in there somewhere. And I've got another one here that appears to have another Allen key and just a couple of screws in it. So I think that's probably just for screwing the module in the end. So I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'll stick that to one side. So good. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So we will have a look at the manual first of all to see what that's going to be telling us. So this has a build difficulty of infinity, which is nice, or 3 stars with a 1. What does that mean? Does anybody know what that means? Not sure what that means. Do we care? Not at this point. We're fine, I think. So we need to have a soldering iron, solder wire, yeah, screwdriver, a knurled nut tool. Oh, optional. Well, if things are optional, then we're not going to worry about it too much. Let's turn on my soldering iron. Find my goggles. You can watch this video about soldering. Well, we're just going to step straight on in, because we're of the opinion that we know what we're doing these days. A tool that can help you check the components on the board is the interactive bill of materials. Rosa has 3 of them, 1 for each board. Right, well, we can look at this. These are not bad things to look at. I should say that the other way around. These are very helpful things to look at. You download it as a zip file, and then you open it up, and it gives you front panel stuff. So when you click on or tap on something or click on something with your mouse, it shows you what that actually is, which is enormously helpful. So there's a close-up of the front, all these capacitors and bits and pieces, or you can find the bit here and it shows you where it is on the board. You know, whichever way around you want to do it, it's a very, very useful tool. So you can see exactly where everything is supposed to go. You can have it in all sorts of different ways. Front and back. So this is the control board that we're looking at. There's another file for each of the boards. Now, what I'm going to try to do is not refer to this particularly. I mean, it's a really useful thing without any doubt as you're working through, but I'm going to try to work through just the build guide and see if that will take us far enough. And if ever we get unsure about where something goes, we'll come back to the IBOM and see if we can work it all out. Does that sound like a plan? That sounds like a plan. Thank you, Mr. Cockrell. So be careful not to touch the surface mount stuff. Great, yeah. So let's begin, it says, with the control board. So we're going to start off by putting on the little headers and the URAC power socket. Right. So we're looking to put the pins into these bits here and the power socket on here. Longer pins need to point outside. What do they mean by outside, I wonder? So these are what we're talking about. They've got long and short. So place the pin headers matching. Longer pins need to point outside. Right, I'm just going to think. So I think, I don't know. What does longer point outside mean? Okay, right. It's a little bit vague. Now, what I think it means, I think if it's saying the longer ones need to point outside, I'm assuming they're the ones that don't go through the holes. Does that make sense? It's really not very clear. Duh. I'm always in this situation. Right, well, I'm going to just have a look here, see if I can reason this out. So this has got to go into these sockets here. Okay, so the short end goes in, all right. The long end goes all the way to the bottom. So what I should probably try to do, because these are the same height on here, aren't they? I'm going to just try this out. So I'm going to put this in here long ways to see whether it fits. So if there's any reason why it doesn't go down to the bottom, then I'm going to have to be using the short side. See, that goes in. That goes in nice and snug. I can pull that out. If I put it in the short way round, that doesn't make such a satisfactory connection. So, through my process of elimination, I am going to make the decision that when it says on the outside, it means that the short ones go in the holes, right? Short one goes in the hole. Maybe that could be more expressed a little bit clearer. Longer pins need to point outside, because that outside is the wrong term. You know, need to point up or away from the board, or the short ones need to go in the holes. Something like that. I would highly recommend is a better thing. Right, I'm just getting warmed up, I'm just getting warmed up. So this is what I'm looking at. I need to put these in the different places. So do not mess with the tiny and helpless surface mount components. Alright, then place a Urax socket matching the drawing on the PCB and solder it. Check the pictures if you have any doubts. Solder them. So, small into there. Small into there. Small into there. Small into there. Now, I tend to like to solder these in situ rather than free flowing, because these are all going to have to sit into something like this. And so I'd much rather solder them when this is on than solder them when it's off, because I might not get it very straight, and if it's not very straight, they're not going to match up very well. So while it doesn't say that, while it says you should just be able to solder it and it will be fine, and it probably would be, to be fair, I am going to just do my own, follow my own safetiness, and I'm going to put this on top. This is of course a terrible idea. Going off instructions is a terrible idea. So what I'm going to do, right? God, I'm making a meal of this. I am sorry. I'm going to put the long ends into these headers that already exist. I'm just trying to make this work for me. So, see what I'm doing? I'm putting all this in here. This is just how I tend to do it more often than not, and I think it's a really good idea. So those are all there. I'm then going to put this bit on. Now I've got to make sure I do this the right way around. So they're all going to be going on to this side. That's going to be going like that, so that the surface mount sticks up, and that's the side that I'm soldering on. Yeah. So I'm going to put this on here. See, because it doesn't fit very easily. No, I've completely done this wrong. I've got this upside down. Come on, work it out. Why do I have to just make things so difficult for myself? Why? Why do I do it? Oh, goodness. I'm just a disaster. Okay, right, that's in. Right, so all of that is in. So that means that when I solder along here, it's going to be correct. They're going to be able to fit back into each other very, very easily. So that feels like a good plan. That's what I'm going for. So I can now solder all of these bits. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah? Are you with me? That's what I'm doing. I'm going for it. Got my soldering iron. Okay. Just checking for bridges and bits and pieces, otherwise that looks good. And I'm just going to gently take that apart, like so. So now I know that it's going to fit together perfectly, because it already has been fitted together. Doesn't matter the sort of angle that this is at, because this is a little bit leant over, but that's fine, because I know that's all going to fit perfectly when I come back to it. So I think I did that right. I'm going to go with it. Going with it. Right, the other thing that goes on here is the power socket, which is this thing here. It's marked very clearly on here which way round it goes. You've got the little nick out of that side which goes where it is on here also. So I'm going to drop that in there. And this should just be a matter of turning it over and soldering it. Now it's going to wobble about a little bit, so I'm going to put something underneath just to give it a little bit of stability. And then I'm going to solder one leg. Just to make sure. I'm going to push down on it, all sorts of things, just one leg. Just to check that that is flat, which it is. Then I'll solder the rest. Alright, looking fine. So this presumably is what's going to be sticking through all of these boards. Yeah, seems like a plan. Right, control board standoff. So it says let's complete the control board, turn it over and follow these steps. Insert the longest screw into the hole. Bum, bum, bum. Right, so I've got like this. Right, so definitely got this. This bit is fine. We know about that bit. Insert the longest screw into this front panel end. So I've got this nice silver screw here, which seems to follow from the picture. But I've also got this screw here, but this is one of these hex screws. That doesn't seem to be the right one. So we're saying that I should have this bit. Ah, found another screw. That screw. And that screw. These four things, right? Are they vaguely in focus? So here's the bigger screw. Insert the longest screw, right, into the board. Turn it over. While keeping the screw in place, flip the board and slide on the thread one of the two washers. So there's a washer. And there's a washer. Okay. Tighten with your hand with the female to male standoff. So this fella here. Store in a safe place the other one and the remaining washer and the short screw. We will need them later. They like to hide on the floor, it says. Yes, I understand those sorts of things. I'm just going to put those over there. So good, yeah, that bit's done. So we're going all out on this board. So we're going to do jack sockets, switches and potentiometers. Don't solder them, just put them all in place. Toggle switches. To reduce clearance, tighten one of the two nuts to the lever. You don't need the round locating ring. Understood. Okay. So we're putting all this sort of stuff on. So I've got two pots. Let's see what it says on here. So on here it says infinite pot, and here it says B10 detent. So this is B2. What's it? That's okay. So an infinite pot, I'm assuming, just keeps going round, which is what this seems to do. It's very sticky, whereas this one only goes so far. And there is a detent in it, just in the middle, just there. I can feel that. So that is for here. And it says B10K. This says B10K on here. We are all good. We're all good to go. So I'm going to put that on there. Oh, flipping Nora. That's not very good. I scratched it. Scratched the lovely PCB trying to get those in. Alright, it's in. Then the lugs. Good, right. Happier with that. Then the infinite pot goes at the top. It's got 4 things that go in. Oof. And then, oh, that was a bit of a push. Then that pushes in. Alright, those are through. Those are good. Right, good. I'll do the switches last as they tend to wobble about the place. So these go in. Now you can see that they're going to be sharing, the twangy leg is going to be sharing into this middle hole here. So the hole that's outside the square, that's for this protruding leg, and they go face to face like so. So they're sharing that leg. Do you see that? Yeah. So here's the same. That's the earth hole is in the middle, and they go facing each other. Okay, that one's by itself, like that. Now, 2 switches. Now, they don't have any. Mine don't have any nuts on at all. So they're suggesting it should have. So I wonder which nuts they're going to be. Are there a couple that are different? There's 4 that are different. There's going to be a couple of larger ones. Now the larger ones are for those. Let's see whether these fit. Yeah, alright. So I'm going to put one of those on. They're talking about a locating washer. I don't see any of those as such. That is not the right nut, because that's not finding an end to itself. Let's try this one. Oh, there's that one. Okay, well maybe it's just running off the bottom of that particular switch. This one, the screw thread goes all the way down, whereas this one, I don't know. Why is it being difficult? This one seems to go off the bottom of it, because the screw thread's a little bit higher. Alright, I'm going to leave that on there nonetheless. Are these the same? Okay, the switches are different. I've got one which just goes on off, and one which goes on and on off. So you've got to get those in the right places. So this one down here appears to be just on and on. Or no and no. Whereas that's on, off, on. What does it say on the front panel? Scan, wave, pass. Knee shut. Okay, so the 3-way needs to go up here on. See, it says single pole double throw, so does this. I'm not sure that that's right, if you see what I mean. Oh, heck and all. Because it's not labelled on here switch 1 and switch 2, so I could at this point go to the bomb, tap on that, switch 2 off, on, off. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that's helping me at the moment. So yes, so the 3-way one goes here. Stop fussing about, put the 3-way one there, and the 2-way one, which is slightly different with a pokey bit there, goes on this side. That seems to be completely right. Now we're not soldering them, and we've got a nut on each of those. Yeah, that all looks good, looking good. So the front panel needs to go on. Put the front panel on, tighten the nuts. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. See, that was easy. That was easy. Look at that. That was easy. Now you can solder all the components. So it's saying we put all the nuts on. That seems a little bit like too much, doesn't it? Because we're going to be, are we going to be taking this off again? I bet we're going to be taking this off again. Are we? I don't know. It doesn't say that. So right, we are going to put the screws on. So we do have these washers. Put that on, and the big nut. So I don't want to scratch that lovely panel. Oh, I've got one washer which doesn't fit. Do I have the right washers? I mean the right screw. See, it fits on the other one. All right, got those backwards. Right. Okay. So this shinier one goes on there. Thank you, Mr. Cockerel. Less shiny one goes on the top one. And then we need a whole bunch of screws going on here. A whole bunch of these things. Start with the opposite corner, just to, I don't know, for reasons. Only need to be finger tight. See, I can see why Behringer don't bother putting these on, because it's just a faff, really. I mean, you could save hours in not putting these on. But they do make for a more stable module. Oh, I so hope this isn't having to come off again. Okay, so we need some screws onto these switches because they are particularly wobbly. Good. And I have one left, which is good. And that, very early on, is all the front panel stuff done. Don't usually expect to do that to the end, but there we go. That's all beautiful. And now we can solder it all from underneath, and then have a well-deserved break. Now everything is poking through. Got to be careful I don't melt any of the header bits and pieces. Got that there. Right, just a bunch of soldering to do, and it's a good one. That looks like everything soldered to me. Good. Now actually we're not far off at this point. I've only got a few headers, I think, to put on, and we're kind of done. So maybe maybe I could just crack on through. No, I've got things to do. I've got lunch to get on the table, so we're going to pause at that point. It's looking good. Just got these other boards to put on the back. We will wait for that. So cool. So far, so good. Yeah, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. Relatively straightforward and nice and quickly. We'll see where we get to next. Right, back to it. Let's see how we get these last two bits into all of this. Right, place the pin headers matching the drawing. Longer pins and the outside, don't solder them. How long? Are we back in the same place? It feels like we're back in the same place again. No, okay, new place. New place. So, not that one. this one. So it's got stuff on this side. We're talking about stuff on this side, I believe. So if we look at the manual, you see what's going on there. What do I need? I need my magnifier so I know what the heck is going on. Right. So again, short ones in, we're assuming. Maybe we'll do this one differently. There and here. Yep. And also we need this bit here and here. We also need this bit here to go in. Like so. With a bit of luck. So it's not for power. That says that's for some other thing. Solder one pin and check. Don't have any doubts. So I'm not entirely sure what this plugs into at this point, so I'm going to do it as they're suggesting and just do it. Just do it, as it were. So I'm going to stick something on it, I'm going to turn it upside down, keep pressure on it to try to turn it over. That should be fine. I can solder it on there. Are they all sticking through? Yes, they are. So I'm going to do one pin, try to make sure that it's flat. We're just going to assume that it's all going to work fine. That's the plan. Put my fan on. Okay, so one pin. So I'm going to put some pressure on that. Try to make it as flat as possible. And then take the iron off. Over here. Push down on that. Yeah, and here. Right, that looks pretty straight. That looks pretty straight. That all looks pretty straight. So we'll do the rest of that. Got to be careful you don't accidentally desolder any of the lovely surface mount bits and pieces. Made a proper mess of that. Bridging all of those across there. Yeah, it's good. Solder is remarkable stuff. It's very manipulable. You can persuade it with the power of your mind just to go to different places. It's just brilliant. So here and here I've still got to do. Like that. And this lot here. Okay, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Well done. Let's stack the PCBs, it says. Now, it's sort of suggesting that I know which one of these... Okay, that says on there. Brain. I don't know. Brain scan board. Brain signal board. Okay, it does say on it. So stack the control board and the brain signal board. So this is a control board, I think. Brain signal board. Brain signal board. So that's this one. So how are they going together exactly? Well, I think it's going to be this way round so that this pokes through. That seems to make sense. And then look, they line up. They all line up. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of a rock. Yeah, okay. So I might need to do these edgy ones first. Okay, good. That's better. That's better. Good. Then on here we get the washer. And then we use this standoff. Like that. Then we've got the brain scan board, which is this one. Now this has got 2 holes in it to let that through, and this go on here and here. See that? Nice. And then we've got the remaining screw. Goes in the top. Like that. So the sandwich is complete. Now we have 2 knobs. I confess that I'm slightly nervous about putting the knobs on until I'm sure that it's working, but then I haven't done a whole lot of soldering other than the sort of hardware here that I can still get to because it all comes apart. There's nothing really that I can't access there and all the way along here if there was a problem that I needed to sort out. So I think we can just go with it. I think we can. So the bigger knob, we need the brass adapter on the top. And then this, of course, doesn't go anywhere in particular because it's an infinite knob. Now we have this hex. These has got hex screws on them. That seems to fit. Just going to undo them a little bit to see whether that helps. Oh, that came off. Oh no! No, that's not good, is it? That's not good at all. Oh my goodness! All right, I don't know quite what was going on with that. Okay, I've undone it enough. It's now gone down nicely to about that far, alright? Okay, good. So now I need to do this up. Okay. In 2 places. Good. Good, good, good. This one, you want it to be pointing up. So this has got a little flathead slot at that side. So you can find the indent or dedent, or whatever it's called, dedent. Okay, I need a flat screwdriver. This should do the job. So I need to undo the screw a little bit. Oh, it's falling out. That's just peachy. I'm not having any luck with that. Come on. Where have you gone? Stupid tiny thing. Ah! Okay, right. So this is, there's the middle. So I'm going to want that to point directly at the top. I'm going to hold that down. Screw that in. And that should do me right. That should do me right. It's pretty smart looking. Oh, okay. So these little things, which luckily have not blown away, are jumpers. Carefully fit the 4 jumpers as shown in the picture. This is on what exactly? Down here. Yeah. So the jumpers should go on the first 4. 2, 3, 4. Probably could do with a pair of tweezers, but hey, I'm just going to wing it. So that goes on. That goes on. That goes on. And that goes on. Nice. Any other configuration might cause malfunction or self-destruction. Nice. Before powering it up, it's good to check shorts on the power thing. Oh yeah. Of course we won't bother with it. And this should be our finished module. That's pretty smart looking. Pretty smart looking. Okay, magnificent. We have completed our module. Again, it's one of these builds that is mostly associated with the front panel, putting the knobs and the patch sockets on. So it's relatively straightforward. Yeah, some lovely headers to do once we got through our initial anxiousness about it, which is good practice for soldering. Nice straight lines and all those sorts of things. Simple, easy to do, nicely put together. I think that's a nice little build. Good, simple build, straightforward. So what's going to be interesting is what on earth comes out of it and what it is that I can do with it. Rosa from Jolin Labs. That is the thing. Good. So, right. So now we need to test it, plug it in, make sure it doesn't blow up, and then see if we can make it do some interesting things. Right, I'm back. Now, unusually, there's been quite a break between building the module and plugging the module in. Usually it's all wrapped up into the same excitement of putting something together, soldering it, and then bringing it to a test bed, or plugging it into your rack and making sure it doesn't blow up, catch fire, or just smoke a little bit. I've not really been able to do that with this module because I had to put it down, had other things to do, and I've wandered off. I've since been to Super Booth, all sorts of things, and so I'm going back to this very much separately from the build, but that's okay. All we're going to do is check it out, see what it does. Now I can give you a quick flavour here just to give you an inkling, and then I'll bring you in and we'll spend, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. Oh, you know me, it will be a couple of hours just fiddling around with it, just to see what it is that the Rosa can bring. So here it is. Here it is here. It's quite elegant, quite beautiful, the way that it looks. It's just got this very sort of slow moving light halo, if you like, around this knob, and this knob itself has a beautiful turn to it, and it just keeps going and keeps going, and it's simply nice. So the general idea of the Rosa, without getting sort of bogged down into the absolute depths of the details, is that it can be put 4 things in and then swap between them, morph between them on the knob. It can put 1 thing in and then spread that out to 4 different outputs, again morphing between them with the knob. Or it can just go in and out, and then you use the knob, I think, for a bit of attenuation, something along those sorts of lines. So what interests me most, I think, about it is the ability to put in different forms of modulation into the inputs and have that all come out of a single output, mixed and morphed between themselves. I think it's probably best demonstrated. I mean, the little demonstration here was pretty perfect, I have to say. But let's break that down and make it a little bit more obvious. So what we have going on here, I've got a PCB here kicking out some LFOs. I've got it all going through my molten motion meter here, just so we can see what's going on. I'm going to turn those up to the max. So I've got 3 channels. It's a 4-channel device, but I've only got 3 sources at the moment, and I'm using the 4th one in order to modulate the morphing. If that doesn't make sense yet. Anyway, so I've got an LFO going in the top, in this one here, as you can see, whacking away from here. I've got a slower LFO going into number 2. And then I've got a little bit of sample and hold going into this last one. And each of those is going into a channel on the input on here. Take that out for the moment. And then I've got a single output, third output, because I've got 3 channels, going into my scope. And that ultimately is going into the filter on the monumatic. Have we got it? So at the moment you can see on the scope that we've got this top one is currently selected. So if I put something on, how do I put something on again? Oh yeah, I know. I could stick just something going into it. This is moving the filter, as you can hear. I can just attenuate that a little bit. So this is controlling the filter here. But as I move my continuously variable morphing knob, it'll then move from channel 1 to channel 2 to channel 3. Then it will bend space and time around upon itself and come back to 1. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening at all. Okay, the reason nothing's happening is I need to put it to the pot. There's a switch here that switches you between the CV input or using the pot, using the knob here. So I've messed up my big reveal now. So let's go back to channel 1, which is something... Which is it? Ah! Come on! Okay, there's the channel 1. So, as I move this knob, it will then move into channel 2. But it morphs between them, if you can see. So I've now got a combination of channel 1 and channel 2. And as I take it further, that's purely channel 2. Then as I go, it will start to introduce the random output from the PCB, which is giving it all this lovely crackliness, which then ends up purely on channel 3. But if I keep going, it will come back to channel 1 again. There you go. Now we've seen similar behaviour with this fella here, the DivKid trace, where you have up to 4 inputs and a single output and the ability to scan between them. But I think perhaps what's interesting about the Rosa is its ability to fold round, to continue to morph between stuff on this really nice knob, as opposed to a slider going up and down. I'm not saying one is better than the other, I'm just showing that there is a difference. Also with the Rosa, you can do it the other way round. That's very interesting. But of course you can stick CV control into that. See, I'm now trying to think, what other ways could I use this? I mean, this is the most obvious, straightforward way that I thought would be the best use of demonstrating it. I'm just trying to think, what else could I put in that it could mix between? I mean, if you put in, for instance, I could put in a couple of sequences just to see what happens with that. Alright, so maybe not then. Maybe not the combining of things in this way. Maybe that's not the way to do it. Alright, so there's another thought, there's another idea. Maybe perhaps it's better for mixing triggers. I've definitely done that before, so maybe that's a more interesting use of that. Going the other way, what would you do? So if you wanted one thing going in, you could have a single sequence going in, going out to 4 different other destinations that you could then swap between is quite interesting. Or having one modulation that could then go out to 4 different destinations, either simultaneously or scanning between them. You know, so something happens, something else happens. all these things are undoubtedly possible, but for me, the combining and moving around of modulation is certainly what's interesting. I mean, you could stick a bunch of envelopes together and then move between those. I mean, that's quite interesting. Let me see if I can patch that in. Okay, the point of this exercise is that down here from the NV, right, this thing here, this is creating 4 different envelopes. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all being triggered differently. So hopefully, the idea is that I'll be able to morph between them. Let's just come back up here just to see whether that works. So you can ignore all this other stuff for the moment. You can see it on there. See, that's pretty cool. I'm going to stick that onto CV, have that go through, and I'm just going to adjust the envelopes down here a little bit. See, that's quite interesting in its own way. Or I could stick the keyboard back in. I could of course put one of my LFOs back in as one of them. Let's take that one out. So there you go. I think that's enough to give you a flavour of what the Rosa could do. Obviously going in the other directions and using the other modes is something that's going to require a little bit more thought on an experimentation from me, I think, before I can really get there on that. But perhaps I'll do a video on it further down the line. But certainly as a creative way of modulating between modulators, I really like it. I mean, similarly, I've done a lot of great work, I think, with the DivKid Trace, and he's also done another one now, which is the reverse, where you go in and out to 4 like that does. So there's a lot of this about at the moment, and it's very, very interesting because it encourages us to do interesting things with our modulators that we perhaps wouldn't have thought of. It adds variation, it adds difference, it adds change and evolution to things. Particularly in slow moving patches, but also with fast stuff, you can get very quickly between different sorts of textures and different sorts of sounds and feels as you go through stuff. I like the way that these can sort of complement each other. I mean, I've used the trace very much for percussion because I like the way that I can move that slider precisely between what it is that I want to select from the inputs, if you see what I mean. Whereas the Rosa is a bit more exploratory. You're turning it to find things, and you've got this discovery and this morphing between stuff, which is really interesting. It's not perhaps quite so deliberately and intentionally precise. It's more to do with finding a way through stuff. But the way that that loops back on itself, the way that it's continuous, is, I think, a really interesting feature and sets it apart from perhaps some other similar type modules that we have going around at the moment. So, yes, I like that. I'm going to try to think up ways that I can incorporate that into things. I mean, also, it's a really great way of just changing between modulators. So you've got something which is doing one thing and you can easily change it into a completely different feel, and that's quite attractive. I like that. So there you go. The build, if I recall all that way back, was relatively straightforward. It's not a difficult build, and it came together really well. You can go back and check that out for yourself. It certainly didn't blow up when I tried it, and it gives a really nice thing. I wish I knew what the ring stuff indicates. It seems to be indicating. Is it actually showing me which of the channels is being used? Is that what's going on? Let me put it onto pot. If I change this. Yeah, that's definitely what it's doing, right? Okay, right, I got that. So you can see what's happening through the halo. The halo is following you around. So you've got these quadrants, and it's showing you what channel it is that you're currently using. So sort of channel 1, come down here to channel 2, that's the LFO. Around here, it's lit up, and that's channel 3, that's another envelope. Then round the top, channel 4, it's a fast envelope. Then back to channel 1. Which is the slowest. There you go, and then back to the LFO. I'm not even sure that you could see that. Don't even know that I care, but I'm very pleased that I've just discovered that the halo around, the light around the knob, is actually even more useful than I thought it was. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So that's the Rosa from Jolin. It's a build, or you can buy it built, I believe. I hope that was useful. And in the meantime, go and make some tunes.